Characters are the reason many people play Resident Evil, and out of so many great choices, Leon is always at the top, man. He's such a fan favorite that he's the star of half of the mainline games. Okay, one of those seem out of place. I'm well aware Leon isn't in Resident Evil Village, but I think he's there in spirit. Let me explain. Ethan Winters is the newest protagonist of the series, and he's already retired. Ethan has starred in the fewest games, and he's the most controversial lead role ever. So how does a character that's nothing like Leon even begin to resemble him? Well, that's the magic of Capcom, man. Let's begin by comparing their life story. Leon's career is full of accomplishments. He's uncovered a massive conspiracy on his first day as a police officer while he has a hangover. Fuck it. Mr. X is such a bitch. He couldn't even kill a rookie caught with a headache, dude. Leon then became the president's personal bodyguard, and he was the only man he trusted to rescue his ballistics. After the C virus was unleashed in Washington, Leon stopped a zombie nuke and he took down a zombie T-Rex. Yeah, they really phoned it in with that one. Leon is capable of literally anything at this point. He gets the most time in the spotlight in the mainline series, so I'm not surprised that he's everyone's favorite. How does this work out for Ethan though? Well, Ethan's life is depressing. He's never allowed to win. He leaves every fight with a limb mangled or chewed off. His enemies have to babysit him. He never even left Louisiana alive. He's such a beta that he had to die in order to survive, which is the most awesome oxymoron of all time. In spite of all of this though, both characters ended up becoming superhuman. Leon made himself a capable man through adversity, while Ethan was forced into it by being such a tragic character. Both of these guys happen to make a great fit for fighting bioterrorism, but do they get pussy? We can also look at Ethan and Leon's fucking Riz. Leon earns the affection of just about every lady in his life. Every woman he interacts with, they throw themselves at him. He's the only man who is able to charm Ada Wong, and there is no way Leon and Hunnigan are not hiding something from HR. The president's daughter casually asks him for sex, despite the laundry list of ways it would make it weird between him and his employer. We don't know why Leon's girlfriend had to break up with him, but if I had to guess, she was paranoid, man. Leon is so good at pulling bitches. I don't know if any relationship with him can be rock solid. He's such a Chad. Let's pivot to Ethan though. Ethan is married, but this is more of a curse than a blessing. He likes to hang around the most fascinating and least shady Resident Evil character in the entire world. Regardless, when she disappears with no sign of coming back, you'd think Ethan would use this opportunity to find something better. He stayed single that whole time. He's either unable to move on or he can't pull a woman who isn't super weird. The one time a big titty goth girl suckles him, she tells him he tastes horrible, then walks away. The dude is a lost cause. He can't even get the goth bitches, and they take anybody. The only woman he marginally connects with is Zoe, and I think that's the worst part of it all. The ending where you kill Mia and fail to save Zoe is arguably the best ending in Biohazard, because if Mia survives, the events of Village takes place, and Ethan fucking dies and leaves behind a child who's going to be harassed and babysat the same way he was, even though they have a drastically different love life. What's interesting is that love plays a huge role in their story. For Leon, Ada is what keeps him fighting for the common good. Ada Wong is a reflection of his career with a dark spin on it. Leon knows that he's in love with Ada, which only makes her influence more dangerous. He just knows better than to fall for this trap. Ethan is unable to look at Mia this way. Mia is Ethan's motivation to do some really stupid shit. His eventual death and the bastardization of his child wouldn't have been possible without her. It's not easy, of course, but I'm also talking about a video game, so fuck off. If Ethan was willing to let go of his already fishy relationship with Mia, he might have found someone who wasn't creating a bioweapon behind his back. Leon knows not to stare down the hole, but Ethan falls in immediately. Okay, Rainen, well, that's cool and all, but Leon is way cooler than Ethan. Let's talk about the mind share of these characters for a second. Leon is the face of Resident Evil. He is plastered everywhere. You know Leon's mug whether you play the games or not, motherfucker. He has a strong, muscular, and pronounced face, the kind that tells you this game will be badass. Even in the lore, Leon can't help but have a direct impact on everything. He meets fellow badasses like Chris and even inspires Sherry to become one herself. His work is so well documented. When they encounter Plaga in Africa, it is literally referred to as the Kennedy Report. Leon's face sells Resident Evil, and if he can't physically be there, they always try to find a way to shoehorn him in somehow.
That's right. At the request of my friend Leon S. Kennedy, I came here to investigate.
Ethan is probably the most subtle way the series has ever done this. It's not a coincidence that the best-selling games in the series have Leon on the box art. Ethan's face is blocked, however. You're not allowed to see it. You have to look at Chris's instead. And if you somehow do see his face, it's uncanny. This is the face of a Roblox YouTuber or some shit. There's another reason why Ethan isn't the most desirable protagonist. Every situation Ethan winds up in, he ends up there by accident. Leon saves people from danger. Ethan brings the danger to you. Ethan also only has a negative impact on the RE universe. Look at the insanely shitty way that Village's ending turned out for Chris Redfield. This guy has to take care of Ethan's wife and daughter when he should be retiring now. In spite of these differences though, one thing is clear. They have an extreme reputation amongst fans, whether it be good or bad. There is as many people praising Leon as there are people criticizing Ethan. And sometimes I see the other way around. Some say Ethan is the best protagonist because he's the most tragic and he's the most realistic. He's not a goody two-shoes like everybody else. And just so we're on the same page, every time I shit on Ethan in this video, I'm just joking after all. I do despise Mia though. Fuck Mia. His story is really sad, and I feel pretty bad for the guy, even though I barely know anything about him, which segues us into another thing that makes him really interesting. Rose barely knew her dad before he died, so I have to wonder if she would idolize him as much as she does had Ethan survived. I'm curious if Capcom intended for us to feel the same way as Rose by making his backstory and personality so vague. Actually, what was Ethan like? Maybe we can infer something from what he covered himself with, just like Rose did. Get it? Because in the key art, he covered his face all the time, and his hoodie covered his body. And that's what we're... Yeah, I'm a genius. I watched all of Breaking Bad through YouTube Shorts. Maybe we'll learn a little bit more about Leon too. Leon is practical. He doesn't care what he has so long as he can get the job done. He is obsessed with function over form. We've never seen Leon inspect or gloat about any of his guns. He uses the same Matilda purely because it works and he doesn't need more. He drives a Jeep Wrangler, standing behind raw performance without the added flash of a sports car. This also tells us that Leon is an off-roading kind of guy. He enjoys venturing away from the established path. I swear, I'm looking too deep into these fucking video game characters, man. Ethan is materialistic and uncreative. He takes a lot of pride in his classic vehicle. It can go fast, but there needs to be a road in front of it, almost as if it's a metaphor for Ethan as a person. Jack knew immediately that this car meant a lot to Ethan, hence why he tears off the top and tries to kill Ethan with it. He is always dressed like other survival horror characters. The fact that he lacks a face means that Ethan doesn't really have any identity, so he has to mooch one off of the other protagonists and fill in the remaining gaps with just buying shit. This is why Ethan can look so similar to Leon sometimes. Ethan has to create a Leon-like persona in order to save the day, because while he is materialistic, he does attempt to help people because it's the right thing to do, and he does try to look like a hero when he does it. It's just never a happy ending like it is for Leon. Then there's some of the more obvious similarities too. Both of these guys are professionally trained, but for entirely different reasons. Leon undergoes training because he's emo. But most importantly, he wants to spend his life helping people, so he willingly travels to Europe in order to fulfill this goal. Ethan is trained because he can't be trusted. He has to be constantly supervised by Chris Redfield, and he had to be taught self-defense in case Chris isn't there. Ethan had to be forcefully relocated because his wife was connected with some really bad people, and their biggest secret was discovered by the BSAA. Ethan has to be babysat so frequently that the developers at one point were planning to put Ada Wong in the game explicitly to save his ass. Even in the final battle, Ethan only succeeds because Chris was also there. It's really funny that Capcom found both a cool and an embarrassing reason for someone to become a badass. But even with the little things, Leon and Ethan both have an attaché case. They know how to craft ammunition. They're both familiar with knife combat, Leon more so obviously. But it's hilarious that we got two blonde guys who travel to Europe to rescue someone's daughter. I think you get my point by now. These two characters being so similar yet so different Leon is more than just a coincidence. This is an intentional parallel that has been carved into the Resident Evil universe. But what does that even mean? No doubt this says something about the series in an artistic way, but it's likely also left up to interpretation. So here's mine. Leon and Ethan say something about different generations of Resident Evil. Leon is old enough to belong to Generation X, and so are the adults who played the original RE trilogy when they were new. When I look at Leon, I actually see a lot of my parents as they exist today. Very functional reform, they have control over their headspace when it matters. They just get things done and they have fun doing it. I get it, not everyone had really amazing parents like I did. Gen X has a lot of criticism levied towards it, and it was seen as rebellious for little reason. I think RE views this in a positive lens though. The only game that was like Resident Evil was Alone in the Dark, Clock Tower, and Ecstatica. And that's all she wrote. That's like the whole list. RE popularized this genre by taking it and making it more ambitious. Shinji Mikami rebelled against what everyone else was doing with 3D, and he rebelled against the normal work environment. Mikami-san put a lot of faith in his weird little idea, no matter how unconventional it was. The result was him and Capcom printing money for years to come. These games have been rebellious since the beginning. Every RE game makes a huge change just to avoid feeling like the previous game. And I think this is why Capcom and the RE fanbase hold Leon in such high regard. Leon is rebellious, he's charming, he's the underdog, and he is original. And Ethan is the Netflix adaptation that represents modern RE. So here's where I'm coming from. Ever since RE7, the series took a tonal shift to become more gritty and serious in order to target a new audience. And then they accidentally made everyone horny. I'm not complaining. These mods are fucking awesome. But this meant removing some elements that made it enjoyable for the existing audience. We now have a horror game that's not allowed to have giant bugs because people are too scared of them. Isn't that the whole fucking point of a horror game? It also meant making these games a lot easier, which was the worst time to introduce all of these badass death animations, because now a veteran player like me will never see them. We also have a game that for some reason cannot have an FOV slider. I know this was 3 years ago, and yes, I'm still pissed about it. I had to replay Village to get footage for this video you're watching right now, and I feel dizzy and boxed in and claustrophobic, and playing this game pisses me off despite how amazing it is. You make sense of that. Calling it a Netflix adaptation is right on the money. It's good. I keep coming back for more. I enjoy what they're doing with it. These are some of the best games Capcom has ever made in years. But every time I play Resident Evil 2 Remake, I always gotta remind myself, oh yeah, zapping isn't a thing in this game. It's like they took a video game and made it into a movie. Everything just feels so limited for some reason, which is why we have a very limited version of Leon. Ethan's perspective is literally limited to what's right in front of him. And I think this is why Ethan is genius. By playing as Ethan in first person, we have to see this bold new Resident Evil through the eyes of the freshest mold on the block. Just like all the new fans who jumped in with Resident Evil 7 and Village. And it brought a whole slew of fans who are just eating it up. Now a whole new generation of people are experiencing the bliss that I felt when I played Resident Evil 1 to 6. So at the end of the day, I'm happy despite how frustrated I sound, because more Resident Evil fans are always a good thing. Realistically, I think we got the best outcome out of a Netflix-like move like this. Speaking of Netflix, my stream chat tells me that Tomb Raider show is complete shit, so I mean, us RE fans got lucky. I'm here to remind you guys of that. And luckily for you, I'm ending the video here, but hold on, let me do my shoutouts first. That's right, I remember now. My best friend, Rainin S. Noodles, told me to buy a membership and watch his other videos. Jokes aside, if you've never seen any of my stuff before, I'm Rainin Noodles. I'm the Capcom fiend, and I make Capcom videos and live streams. Check them out, man. By the way, huge shout out to all of my Udon channel members. Huge motherfucking up stew! Gordiano, Troha, and Warlord 12, man. Now, let me show these memberships real fast. I'm doing members-only streams here on YouTube every Saturday. You can get access to those by clicking the join button and signing up for my $1 ramen tier. You get early access to videos, exclusive videos, priority reply and comments, and loads of other stuff. And it'll only cost you a bowl of ramen every month. That's why it's called the ramen tier. If you get Udon, you get a shout out in every video, just like these guys. Jokes aside, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm off to go goon before I grind on the next video. See ya, perverts!